Cooked with Shaq is sponsored in part by Prairie Meats, your local store that offers different cuts of meats featuring deli and grocery, event catering, the smokehouse, and more. 2326 Miller Avenue and in the College Park Mall or prairiemeats.ca. Prairie Meats, the taste families love.
Hey, I'm Shaq from Rock 102. I'm not a chef, and I didn't go to any fancy cooking school. I'm just a regular guy that likes to cook. Hey everybody, it's Cooked with Shaq. Welcome to the show. I'm Shaq, he's Harrison, and I tell you, we have got a great show lined up for you here today. Welcome. How do you like the new hairstyle, hey? Check
I'm
that
liking
out.
it, yes.
The new hairdo.
Woo!
Got it, got a little bit
Not too
tight
bad.
on top, hey? New
You see
show, new hair.
Couple grays a little bit
Oh,
there.
don't start with the gray hair already. Thanks for joining us. We got a great show lined up for you here today, and you're going to be hearing the sounds of Apollo Crews throughout the entire episode. Check out their DVD or their CD rather. It is called Your Blues, John, and you're going to be hearing, like I say, tracks from it throughout the show today.
Great album.
We have got a whole bunch of tomatoes here. And the reason why we're doing tomatoes is because we've never really done a tomato show before. Do you like tomatoes?
I love tomatoes.
Now, tomatoes originally, way back when, were supposedly poisonous. They were. You wouldn't want to eat a tomato because for some reason it had some demonic thing that would happen to you and your head would spin and you'd start spewing out pea soup and stuff like that. That's a bunch of crap. But no, seriously, the tomatoes were considered to be poisonous, that you shouldn't be eating them way back then. But then eventually people started eating them and found out they weren't poisonous and that they're very good for you. And they're also, tomatoes are a fruit.
Right.
But probably the worst tasting fruit you'd ever eat, right? But it's a good tasting vegetable. Isn't that the weirdest thing? You know, you'd take a tomato and a peach, and you'd rather eat the peach because it's a fruit and it's sweet. But yet the tomato is a fruit, but it's not sweet, so it'd be like a terrible tasting peach. You get it? I don't. Anyhow, let's get right to it here today.
So what are we cooking today,
We
Shaq?
are cooking a whole bunch of stuff with tomatoes, and they're really super easy recipes. Now, a lot of people get their tomato sauce out of a jar. You go to the grocery store and you get your tomato sauce. Well, we're going to teach you how to make a tomato sauce, which is super easy to do. Now, we've got some fresh tomatoes that we have right here that are right on the vine, but we're not actually going to use those today. We're going to use canned tomatoes, and I'll tell you why in just a little bit. But first off, one of the recipes that we're going to make with the tomato sauce is chicken parmesan. So what you have is you got a chicken breast, you got the nice sauce over top, and you got Parmesan cheese over top of that. So we're going to start off by browning up some chicken first. So let's get a little seasoning on this.
All right.
Get a little salt right on top there. We're also going to get a little bit of pepper. Season those up. And we're going to get them now. Today, I hate to say this, but we don't really have a whole lot of use for bacon. Usually we have bacon in every episode.
You know, look at the time, Shaq. I gotta go. I'm sorry, man. I couldn't stay for the whole thing, but.
But hold on a second. We have used bacon for one thing. For the grease, because we need the bacon fat, okay? So there is bacon in here, but not in the actual bacon form. It's in the form of the fat. Okay, so we got the smoking hot pan right now with the bacon grease in there already.
Well,
so
I'd
what
probably
we're gonna
stick
do,
around for a little bit.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these chicken breasts and we're just gonna put them in. That's a hot pan, man. You want it nice and hot so you get a good sear on them. If I can get a hold of that chicken. Come on, get in there, baby. There we go. All right, we're just gonna get that in there. And what we want is a nice sear on both sides. Let's season up the other sides here. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. And then what we'll do is once you get a nice sear on both sides, we're gonna stick the lid on that for now. We're gonna set the oven to 350. Get a good sear on both sides, caramelization on both sides. We're gonna fire it in the oven and cook it until it's done, okay? So that's what we'll do in that. Now, while the chicken is cooking, we're gonna get to the tomato sauce or the pasta sauce. You can use this in any kind of spaghetti, like I say with the chicken parmigiana. You can use it as a dip for pizza if you want. You can use it as a pizza sauce if you want. So this is how we're gonna do it. We start off with the food processor. We're not using the cranker. We're not using the hand crank today. We're going full on electric.
All right.
Now, the reason why we're not using the vine ripe tomatoes, you can if you want, but you have to kind of go through a lot of preparation with them. You like to get them peeled up. You like to get some of the seeds out of them and that. But what we're gonna do is use canned tomatoes. We don't use a lot of canned products, but canned tomatoes we're gonna use today because when they pick the tomatoes for the canning, they are perfectly ripe, and then they blanch them to get the skin off. The seeds are still in there, but that's okay. We'll live with the seeds. So we're gonna put, this is 1.5 cans of tomatoes to get them in there. Okay? And all we do is we want to pulverize these babies up and get them nice and smooth, okay? Fire it up, here we go. And they don't need much. And then that's it. That's all you need. Now, really, if you wanted to, you could have got the crushed tomatoes in the can, too. Or you can get the canned tomatoes that are already pulverized like this. But this is more fun, using a food processor. All right, we're going to get those right into a pot. There they go. Okay, that's done. Going to move all this out of the road. Now, we're going to turn this onto a kind of a medium heat. Actually, you don't put it up to a high heat right now because you want to bring this to a boil. Okay, so that's just the tomatoes in there. We are going to put some of the more ingredients in. As a matter of fact, we're going to come back. We're going to have the chicken browned up. We're going to start seasoning the tomato sauce, and we're going to be back with tomato sauce with Cooked with Shaq in just a couple of minutes. Hey everybody, welcome back. Cooked with Shaq. We are making homemade tomato sauce or pasta sauce. Again, you can use it for pretty much any kind of use that you want, whether you want to put it on pizza, you want to put it on pasta, you want to put it on meat, you can do that as well too. Super simple. We started off with one of those big cans, you know, the big ones, not the little guys, the big cans, 1.5 cans of canned tomatoes. Right now they are coming to a boil on the stove. Now, we also have the chicken. We're making chicken parmigiana with this tomato sauce. See, now look at that, how nice that looks. You want your chicken to have that nice brown caramelized color to it, and it's smelling so good right now. Now, what we'll do to finish this off is we're just gonna put it in the oven. Make sure that your pan is oven ready, okay? Don't stick a pan in the oven that doesn't have a proper handle, that's not gonna melt off or anything. So if you don't have one of those pans, make sure you transfer it onto a cookie sheet or a roaster or something like that. So we're gonna put this right in the oven, 350 until they are done. And the oven just indicated we're now exactly at 350. All right, so we're gonna move this out of the way. Hot! Holy, that was hot.
Yeah.
We're good.
It's hot.
Okay, so now we brought the tomatoes to a boil. We're gonna turn that down now and have it about medium heat. And so let's just do that, medium heat right now. So now we're gonna start flavoring up the tomatoes to make them taste like tomato sauce, right? So we're gonna start off with a little bit of salt. Always have to have a couple of pinches of salt in there. We're gonna get some more pepper in. Lots of pepper, as much pepper as you want. We're also going to use the Italian herb spice blend. So this has got oregano in it. It has got some parsley in it. It's got all kinds of Italian spice all in one. And so if you can find it at any grocery store too. So it's a dry spice. We're not using fresh herbs this time around because we want the tomato sauce to sit and stew for about an hour. So if you used fresh herbs, you'd start to lose some of the flavor. You'd get the color and everything, but you'd start losing the flavor. But you do want some more intensified flavor, and that's what you get with the dry herbs. So use dry herbs when you're doing a long cooking process. Fresh herbs when you're doing just a short cooking process. So a couple of big pinches in there. You want lots of flavor in there. Nice big pinches, okay? Now, we want to put a little garlic in. Now, I just got this jar of crushed garlic. It's a lot easier than doing your own, so we're just going to do that.
Just throw the whole jar in. I love
garlic, look at that, hey? Just a great big jar of garlic. You want a good, maybe half a tablespoon in there. Nice and garlicky. Now, something else that I noticed too, and I wanted to use fresh basil, but again, this is a long cooking process. So I found something that's kind of right in the middle. It's a basil paste. It looks like a tube of toothpaste, but it's basil. And so what you want to do is just throw about a good squirt. I'd say maybe about that much. Basil's got a lot of flavor. And again, with the paste, it is a very intensified flavor. All right, tomato paste. We want to make this even more tomatoey. Use tomato paste. It is basically what that is, completely condensed down to a mush. So this is tomato mush, but it's very intense when it comes to flavor. So we're going to get that in there as well too. Now, with tomato sauce, you always want to have a bit of sweetness to it. Now, it all depends on how your tomatoes are. Sometimes your tomatoes are really sweet, so you don't need a whole lot of sugar. But I would use probably about a tablespoon of sugar. That's how some people eat tomatoes too. Have you ever seen that? Did your grandfather or anything? I remember my grandfather used to take canned tomatoes and he used to sprinkle sugar on top of them, and that's how he would eat them. Yeah, it works well together. All right, so we got everything in? I think we do. We just have to grab a whisk, get everything whisked around. Now bring that to a boil again. And then take it down to low, because you want to just have that just kind of simmering away, and you want to do it for an hour. You want to get all those herbs infused into the tomatoes and everything kind of blending together nice. So an hour at low temperature, and then after that it's ready to go. So now what you want to do is you want to smooth it out a little bit more, because the food processor, it grinds it all up really nice, but it doesn't give it that nice smooth tomatoey sauce look, you know what I mean? Yeah. So what we're going to do is we've already got some tomato sauce that I've done earlier on today. It's all nice and cool. Remember the blender, if it's hot, only fill it up a little ways or else you're gonna blow the lid right off it. So I was a little bit smarter today and decided we would go with a cool tomato sauce, okay? Watch, it's gonna blow up anyway. So we're gonna toss that in.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I need one of those spit screens. Holy. Okay, there. You got a bad feeling about this?
I don't know. I'm glad the blender's over there, but somehow it still hits me all the way across the kitchen.
Okay. Here we go. I don't know how this is gonna work, but just for safety purposes, I'm gonna grab a towel.
Oh, that's nice.
And we're gonna put this over top like this. Can you see that, camera guy? Okay, we're good. Oh no, here we go. Want to smooth it out, so start real slow, okay? The slowest you can possibly go, even if you want to pulse it once or twice, just to. There. That's not bad. That's not bad. Look at that. All right.
Okay.
We got it.
All right. That was a good start.
Not bad. Not bad at all. So you want to let that go. So let's take it up a couple of notches. Put that on high and just let it go for maybe about 30 seconds. Maybe a little bit more than that. You want to get it nice and smooth. But you know what we forgot to do? We forgot to put hot sauce.
I was gonna say we're missing some ingredients here, Shaq.
I knew there was something. So hot sauce. Well, okay, this was here. I know where it is.
Can't believe you would forget the hot sauce. Like, we use it for everything.
Got it! Got my hot sauce. Take a look at that baby, hey? You want some big bottle of sriracha hot sauce? There it is. You like that? Isn't that? Very nice. Won this at the exhibition this year. One of my prized possessions right there. You know what? We're going to put it right here for now.
I don't know what to say, man. That's
a big bottle.
That's a big bottle.
Okay, now we're going to have the little bottle of hot sauce. And we're going to put
Man.
Just about a teaspoon of the hot sauce in there. Let's fire up. The blender again. And we're gonna let this go for a little bit. When we come back, we're gonna get this back in the pot, heat it up, and then we're gonna start dishing out some of the great food that we're making here on the tomato sauce episode, Cook with Shaq. See you in a second.
Cooked with Shaq is sponsored in part by Prairie Meats, your local store that offers different cuts of meats featuring deli and grocery, event catering, the smokehouse, and more. 2326 Miller Avenue and in the College Park Mall or prairiemeats.ca. Prairie Meats, the taste families love.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Cooked with Shaq. I'm Shaq, he's Harrison. We're doing tomato sauce here today. We've got fresh tomatoes. We're gonna be using that for something that's like a bruschetta we're gonna make in just a little bit. But we're also doing chicken parmigiana, my version of it, with our freshly made pasta sauce or tomato sauce or marinara, whatever you want to call it. We're also gonna do something a little bit interesting with our spaghetti. We're not just gonna have spaghetti and pasta sauce. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before, but I saw it on a kids show the other day. I don't know why I was watching a kids show. I was just flipping through channels.
Inspired by kids' television.
And all of a sudden, I saw them eating something. I'm like, what are they eating? They're eating spaghetti tacos.
What?
We're making spaghetti tacos. So we're gonna take our spaghetti and we're gonna put the sauce on it and we're gonna put it into taco shells. I kid you not, it's really good. It's very awesome. But before we do all that, and get our chicken out and everything, we're going to do something that I actually tried many, many years ago at a restaurant, an Italian restaurant in Edmonton. And I'm not even sure what it's called, but it's kind of like a bruschetta. There's not as many herbs or anything. It's just basically garlic bread with tomato and Parmesan cheese. So what we've got is ciabatta buns, which is, they're awesome. Like, look at that, they're nice and airy, and they just are a great bun to use for this. And we're gonna cut up a tomato, but first off, we're going to put a little bit of butter, need lots of butter on all of these ciabatta buns. See, and what's great about them is that they got all those air holes in there, so that the butter just kind of goes right into them. So when you stick it in the oven, it melts right into those wonderful air holes. I don't know what else to call them, air holes.
Well, it's like the Eggos, right? You just load the butter on them.
Yeah, that's an awesome, that's exactly what
Butter
to do.
just sits in the little square
like
pockets.
Little pools of butter, and you just want to take the Eggo and go,
Man,
you know, you don't even want
So
to
good.
cut that thing up.
best breakfast ever.
Oh, they're awesome. Okay, so you just keep putting the butter on, as much butter as you want.
I like a lot of butter.
Okay,
Yeah.
I kind of figured you would. So butter, we're running out of butter, but that's okay. I got more in the fridge if I have to. All right, well, that's. Okay, so that's done. Got all the butter on there. Now what we're gonna do, instead of using fresh garlic, because it's a little too pungent, unless you use roasted garlic, which is a really cool thing too. If you've ever roasted a garlic, you take a whole bulb. I should have demonstrated today, but you take a whole bulb of garlic, slice the top off, put a little salt and pepper on it, a little bit of olive oil, stick it in some tin foil, and stick it in the oven at 350 for 45 minutes. And when it comes out, it's just nicely roasted and caramely, and then some of the pungency is gone. Works very well with this too. But what we're gonna use today is just garlic powder. So basically we're making a garlic bread. So we'll put a little bit of that on.
I'm liking the garlic today.
Yeah, we're doing
good.
lots with garlic,
Yeah.
that's for sure. Well, it's, you know, you got the Italian cooking, they like the garlic. They like the garlic. Okay. We're going to, now, I think we've got our tomato ready to go. Oh, and check this out. We've got a brand new camera.
Oh, really?
Yeah, look at this thing. It's like the chopping board camera. Like, check that out. That makes that tomato look like it's the biggest tomato in the entire world, especially if I stand back here like this. I go, look at the size of that tomato. Holy. It's
Wow.
like James and a giant tomato. Look at that, eh? That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
Is that a new camera?
That's pretty cool.
Okay.
Very nice. All right, so we're gonna do some chopping on the chopping camera.
Oh boy.
Well, actually, not chopping. We're just
Now
gonna
they
do some
can.
slicing.
People can really see when you actually slice your finger.
Right. That's exactly it. So what we want is a nice sharp knife when you're cutting tomatoes. Okay. Nice and sharp. And you want them to be about 1/8 of an inch thick. You don't want it too thick.
I was just thinking I should be playing some chopping music, but
Well,
you're
it's-
pretty detailed on
That's
this.
right. This isn't a chopping moment.
This is not a
just
chopping
kind of
moment. Okay.
a slice moment. It's just a slicing kind of thing. Well, here, why don't you give me music that it's putting the tomato on the bun music?
Boy, haven't played that song in a long time. I
There
gotta
we go.
remember.
Now, see, we're putting tomatoes on the bun. We need music for this. I need more tomatoes. Hang on a second. Keep that going. Keep that going.
Oh,
Chop away. All right, keep going.
the song only has 2 chords, by the way.
That's fine.
This is all it is.
Very nice. It's almost Zen-like spa music. Done.
All right. Beautiful.
I have no idea what we just did there.
Wow. I don't know
Alrighty.
either. But
Now a little bit of salt. Salt those babies up. Just like that. A little bit of pepper.
so far, salt and pepper.
That's pretty much it.
And
It's
garlic.
super easy. Garlic and a little bit of butter on your ciabatta bun. Now, you don't have to have these great big ones. These are big ciabatta buns. You can get smaller buns as well too. You don't have to use ciabatta, but whatever you want to use, that's fine. Okay, so now we go with the Parmesan cheese.
Oh
We
yeah.
basically want to just cover up that tomato like that.
Just dump it on.
Oh yeah, look at that, hey? Get it on there. And there it is. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to stick that in the oven. Now you can broil it if you want. I'm just going to put it in for a little bit longer just because I want all of the tomato to kind of cook in. You don't want it to be too fresh. You want it to be, you know, because cooked tomatoes, baked tomatoes are really nice and sweet. So you want to make sure that all that gets in there. So I'm going to put them in with the chicken at 350 for about, well, just keep an eye on it so that when the cheese melts and everything starts to brown up and get nice and caramelized, that's when it's all done, okay? So 350, in the oven they go. And you know what? I think we pretty much have everything ready to go here. We're just gonna assemble everything. So come back, Cook with Shaq. We're doing the tomato show. We got tomato sauce happening, and we're gonna be back in just a couple of minutes to plate things up.
Cooked with Shaq is sponsored in part by Prairie Meats, your local store that offers different cuts of meats featuring deli and grocery, event catering, the smokehouse, and more. 2326 Miller Avenue and in the College Park Mall or prairiemeats.ca. Prairie Meats, the taste families love.
Harrison James, everybody, on the guitar. I'm Shaq. It's Cooked with Shaq. We are back, and we are ready to plate up all of our great food for today. We have made a homemade pasta sauce or a marinara, whatever you want to call it. You can throw it on pizza. You can use it for a dip if you want. Do whatever you want. We're doing chicken parmesan as well as spaghetti tacos, and we also have a tomatoey kind of a bruschetta, but more of a garlic tomato parmesan bun that we did. And we're going to take them out of the oven right now. As a matter of fact, take a look at these babies, hey?
Wow.
They are ready to go. All that parmesan is now melted all over the tomato. And again, like I said, you don't have to use the ciabatta buns. You can use smaller buns if you want, but the ciabatta just has a nice texture with it and great with the tomato as well too. There's also garlic on that. Now, we get to the chicken parmesan. Here it is, right there. Look at that baby, hey?
Perfect.
They are good to go. So, if you want to just grab one of these, put it on the plate like that. And then grab one of these buns, add it to the plate like that. Just kind of sit it right there. And look at that, just pair it up perfectly. Chicken parmesan with your homemade tomato sauce and your tomato parmesan bun. All right, now let's get to the real fun stuff. I'm gonna move this over here for a second. And we're gonna take our spaghetti, just regular spaghetti. We're gonna take our tomato sauce. We're just gonna drop it in there a little bit, just a couple of scoops. One more scoop. We're gonna get this kind of all mixed up in the tomato, into the spaghetti. And here, I know you're wondering what's gonna happen here next. What are we doing?
What's going on?
It's not just spaghetti and meat sauce, or spaghetti and spaghetti sauce. It is spaghetti tacos. Now, the only thing I need to figure out is how to stuff these tacos, how to keep them from standing up. Okay. I know what else a tomato is good for. Let's take a couple of tomatoes, do this, do that.
Oh, well,
and
look
just
at
like
that,
you have got a taco stuffing stand.
All right.
Not sure what that means exactly. Now what you do is you take your spaghetti and you put it right into the taco shell. Just like that. Isn't that awesome?
That's pretty cool.
I think that's about enough. We don't want
Something
too much
for the
in there.
kids.
There it is. You got, here, it's kind of a mess here. Let's take this back like that. That's really good. Okay, now that's all kind of decorated up there with the tomatoes.
Yeah.
Let's decorate this one with a couple of little mini tomatoes like this. And put one here, and voila, there you go.
What about what's going on with the cheese over here?
Oh, right, the cheese.
What's
good
it's
call
like,
on that.
I mean, it
Good
was right in
call.
front of me,
Yes,
and I'm
and-
like, do I just eat the cheese
Yeah.
right now, or are you
It's
going to
just
be
an
using it? Because it's not going to waste.
I didn't even. You're lucky you're here, Harrison.
Well, that's not only can I play the guitar.
You put your cheese. Yeah, he's just the cheese sniffer, man. He is just the guy when it comes to cheese.
Yep, and bacon.
And there you go. And now, of course, we didn't use the bacon, but we used bacon grease to cook our chicken. So we've got everything right here. We've got our spaghetti tacos, our chicken parmesan, our parmesan tomato bun. It's all done. We're ready to eat. Thank you very much for joining us on Cooked with Shaq. We'll see you next time. Have no idea what we're going to be cooking, but we'd like to thank Apollo Crews, their album Your Blues, John, for supplying us with some of the tracks from their new album, all episode long on Cooked with Shaq. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Are the same, and everything that goes, it comes back. High octane blues that you can refuse. Apollo Crews is on the attack.
Cooked with Shaq is sponsored in part by Prairie Meats, your local store that offers different cuts of meats featuring deli and grocery, event catering, the smokehouse, and more. 2326 Miller Avenue and in the College Park Mall or prairiemeats.ca. Prairie Meats, the taste families love.